All right, so welcome everybody to the Teacher Innovation Network. I'm going to pass it over to Tawny to introduce our team.
All right, thanks, Stephanie. And again, just welcome. We're the Teacher Innovation Network, and tonight is our third and final EdTech Playground for this school year. And we've got some great content for you tonight. But this is our team. We have Sarah from Shasta County and Krista, Jenna, and Anu from our Santa Clara County office. I'm Tawny Reinhardt, and I work at the Sacramento County office, and Stephanie from Santa Cruz County office. We like to joke that we're all SCOEs, we're all special SCOEs. So welcome to tonight. And as we get started, just a few norms for tonight. I'm sure a lot of these are familiar to all of you if you've been to an online meeting before, but just be aware of your mute and unmute microphone throughout the night. If you can show your video, we'd love to see your face. We're going to make this as interactive as possible, but we understand that's not always possible. So definitely turn it off and stay with us versus getting off, and then participate. You know, if you can set your distractions aside, we've got some great content for you to interact with, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear your questions. And then we understand that this is towards the end of your day and even maybe getting into, dinner time for some of you. So take care of your needs. If you need to take a break, have some snacks handy. I'll have my own water. So don't feel like, you can't munch and just be with us. We're so happy you're here.
So for today, for our agenda, we're going to start with some quick community building. So one of the things that we think is really important for a Teacher Innovation Network is getting a chance to connect with and interact with other like-minded educators who just enjoy EdTech, right? And seeing how it can benefit our students. And then we are going to get to hear from our featured speaker. We are so lucky we have Lisa Highfill here today, who's going to be sharing with us. Unfortunately, Martine is not able to join us this afternoon, but Lisa has some great ideas for integrating Adobe content into her work. And then we'll end with a closing.
Sorry, my mute button was hidden there when presenting my screen. I'm Sarah Colbeck from the Shasta County Office of Ed, and I'm going to lead you in a community building activity using some AI, some generative AI that lives in Padlet. And I just have to give a shout out to Adobe Firefly. I don't know if any of you have played with it much before, but it is new, it's in beta, and that's how I did these cool balloon letters. So let me, whoops, sorry guys. I'm going to stop share so that I can switch screens. So on that slide, the balloon, the picture with the slide, the community building slide, sorry, I got the wrong one again. Is a link to a Padlet. And so once you're in the Padlet, down at the plus sign where you enter in your entry for Padlet, you're going to hit the plus sign and the three dots, and I can't draw. So no drawing required. You only have to be a decent AI writing prompt writer. So you're going to write what you want to draw. So these are your summer plans, whether it's, an oil painting of you sitting by the lake with your kayaks, whatever your plans are, you're going to type that in and then hit the button for it to generate it, and that'll be your post. So I'm going to stop sharing so we can work on that for just a minute. like we have a lot of camping planned, which is awesome, right? We need to unplug sometimes. If you want to unmute, has anyone, or even in the chat, has anyone used this part of Padlet before? The generative, I can't draw. For not being able to draw, you guys did pretty amazing with your prompts. Looks like we're catching up on sleep too. There'll be a lot of that. A lot of campfires going on. A trip to Ireland. And some Disney, it looks like, for Mackenzie. Does anyone want to share out about their summer plans, their prompts? Feel free to unmute.
Hi, my name is Chan Chan from California. Since we have a lot of national parks in California and I haven't really visited a lot of them, our plan is to visit maybe, I think 2 more is still on our wish list. So we're going to be doing that.
Awesome. Check those off. That's great.
This is Lauren. I ride a motorcycle, and so I'm super excited to be able just to ride the road this summer and get some trips in.
That sounds exciting.
I know. Wow, adventurous.
Does anyone else want to share?
I have a question regarding the Padlet, the I Can Draw feature. How is this different from just searching for an image and inserting it?
So great question. The difference is that I Can Draw actually lives within the Padlet platform, and it's using generative AI to actually draw with the prompt that you're writing for. So originally I asked for a photo of my vintage trailer and I didn't like it. So I redid it for a painting and it looked a little bit more realistic. So you can ask for, something that doesn't already exist, and AI within the Padlet will generate it for you. So it's kind of fun, and it causes you to think a little bit more about what you're searching for.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we move on, we are going to get a selfie, a group photo of all of us. And I know a lot of you have your cameras off because you're probably maybe still in class or driving. But if you would like to be included in our group photo, you could turn your camera on for just a minute. I'm going to take a screenshot. I'll count us down. Okay, so I'm going to take our picture all together in 3, 2, 1. Big smiles. Yay. Thank you, everyone. We'll be sure to post this in our slides so we can see how much fun we had today.
Okay. Okay, so let's get started. I have the honor and privilege to introduce to you an amazing speaker and a leading educator from the EdTech world, Lisa Highfill. Lisa Highfill describes herself as a thinker, philosopher, debater, and geek. She has worked in Pleasanton Unified School District in San Francisco Bay Area for over 28 years. And she's currently the district's technology integration specialist, coordinating the new virtual academy. And working in the EdTech field since 1998, when she earned her master's degree in EdTech leadership, she went on to become a Google Certified Innovator, a Merit Fellow, and leading edge educator. Lisa has served on many advisory boards, including Google EDU and Imagine K-12, and presents at EdTech conferences around the country. She is the co-creator and co-author of the HyperDoc Handbook and Teachers Give Teachers. We are so fortunate that Lisa will be sharing also some Adobe tools. So that's like a bonus that we are getting, which she has integrated in her presentation. So without much ado, I invite Lisa to get started. Thank you, Lisa, for coming, joining us.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks so much. And you just mentioned that we started Teachers Give Teachers in HyperDocs. And so in Teachers Give Teachers fashion, I couldn't resist. You guys, this is what happens when we connect as teachers. We're just sharing, we should share. And I made a HyperDoc lesson about I can't draw this year. And so boom, there you go. You can have it. I did it with second graders and it was a subject predicate lesson. And then they had to come up with, anyway, you can look. This is just going to get you started with lots of open all your tabs now. And you can always just file, make a copy, and it's yours. Edit, revise, however you want with everything today. Because, and I apologize ahead of time, especially those I saw en route. I think you're probably trying to get home right now. Not to worry, I've linked up everything in my slides. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of goodies coming your way for sure. So I'm going to put my slides into the chat right now and I will get started. I'm really excited. I have a lot to share and please put your questions in the chat. I am working in a virtual academy right now. It's hybrid, so we're part in person and part online. And so I've gotten pretty good at like looking at both, looking at the chat, running, especially when you've got like, 60 middle schoolers in the chat. And that's your school. And you're like, all right, I see what's going on over there. So I have like, instead of eyes on the back of my head, I got eyes on the chat. So please put your questions in there. And it's just a habit now. I just check it out and look at it. I'll pause and want some input here and there, and do interrupt me. Your questions are really great for that. So here, let us begin. Look, I already have some of my tabs even lined up, ready to go, but I like to see all of you. So I'm adjusting my screen. All right. So I wanted to talk, this is kind of like a combination today. I was definitely my biggest takeaway today, if there's one thing that you can take with you, it's these audio stories that I am beyond excited about. Now, I've tried to put this on social media and it just doesn't come across the same way. So I'm so glad you're here because I'm so hyped up about these audio stories and these, well, I don't even call them podcasts because sometimes people think that's like, Brene Brown, and they're not. They're audio dramas. And for the past 6 months, I've been working to make curriculum to go with them. And they're all free and they're all amazing stories. And your students are going to love them. Like the kids, every time I talk to teachers, they're like, my students love these. And so I definitely am excited to share that with you. Let me get my chat is open and ready. Okay, so now I got all my things ready. I wanted to begin though by talking about Adobe because you're going to see Adobe all over this curriculum that I'm sharing. And Adobe has been a tool that I've used not exclusively, but I've been really trying this year with second graders. Our school is TK through 12. And so I teach I teach lessons in every grade level. And I really try to keep my tools down to like four tools, maybe 5 at the very most. And I bet right now, if you could put in the chat, what would be your 4? Like if I made you narrow down your web tools you use in the classroom, and they can't be any of your school curriculum programs, any creating tools. So Padlet is one of them for me. I love Padlet. I'm on Padlet all the time. I need a place to curate all the thinking in one place. Go ahead and put in the chat if you have a tool that you cannot live without, that you always are teaching. I know I'm going to talk about Adobe, but a lot of people love Canva as well. And so, oh yeah, Seesaw. Oh, here they all come. Yep. Google Docs, Pear Deck. Oh yeah, so great. Seesaw, Padlet, WeVideo. Yes, I'm on WeVideo all the time. That is one of my 5. And Book Creator is one of my 5. Yes. Oh, good. Nice creation here. And I try to do a variety of these tools to sort of cover everything, and to have a nice build a nice digital literacy for my students. So today we're going to go through, this is basically the agenda that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the tools, and then I want to talk about how to teach kids how to use them. You ever gone to a workshop and you're like, oh, that's a great tool. Now you try to get a whole classroom of second graders creating on that tool. It's just a nightmare. You're like, I'm never using this tool again. So I spent a lot of time thinking about that. And then connections to content. How do you take these great tools and add them and integrate them into your content? So quizzes, Google Slides, good one. Class Dojo, classroom screen. Nice. Thank you for sharing. The participation is thanks so much. So let's talk a little bit about the tool. First of all, Adobe Express is the premium is free for students to have the full premium account if they have a Gmail account. And so I had to go through a little bit with my school district. I teach in Pleasanton Unified in San Francisco East Bay. And I had to connect my district technology coordinators with Adobe friends to get it to, open up some settings. And once that happened, students can sign in with their Gmail. Our snafu was with Clever. We were having a little trouble. So if you work with Clever and that's a problem, we usually just go straight to express.adobe.com and they sign in with their school account. And I always know when they end up at this page, you are in the correct page. So as you go through and log in, there's a couple of tricks to that. But once you're here at this page, have any of you, can you put rate your experiences 1 to 5, your experience with Adobe Express? Now you might have known it as Adobe Spark. I was really big into Adobe Spark. So 1 meaning you're new to it, 5, you got this. You use it a lot. All right, good to know. And it's kind of like, why would you use this? Is one of my big pieces to this. Excellent. Thanks for letting me know. So I know to kind of cover a variety of ideas on here. It's really helpful. So when I first come in here, the first thing I tell students is all the creating happens behind the pink plus. And when you open it, it shows, a lot of the different ways you can create. So sometimes I just want to use a graphic and I just want to make a poster, for example. Sometimes I want to make a video. That's another reason I use this. And my very favorite way to use this is a web page. I think they make some of the most dynamic and creative web pages that I've ever seen. So I really love using the web page feature. Now there's so many other things on here, but I try to focus in on those 3. And once you get started, you can, if I wanted to go into, let's say, I'm going to go into video and just show you. You just have, it prompts you all the way through, and it lets you get started. Now I'm going to wait here a minute and go back to kind of double doing here with how do I teach kids how to use this? Well, this is linked again on the slides. So if you hopefully you have all the slides. I'm going to drop this link in one more time, and I'm sure this will be going around. This is, oh no, did I not link that on there? I'll be sure that's linked on here. Let me drop it real quick and I'll link it later because I added this very late. This document, you are free to make a copy of this. And in the beginning of the school year, I create this, but there's only one square filled in the very first time I work with kids. It has a link to get them to log into their account. And pretty much the first time they log into their account, that's pretty much what we're doing. We're just making sure everyone can log in, and I might create a poster, a card, or a presentation. And I have a lesson linked right here. And that's really important that everything's packaged in one space in this nice little doc. This is a lesson that is then has a tutorial built in. If they get stuck, it has then your task, and it even has where to turn the designs in. Now, I left this linked, the designs. Is it still linked? Yeah, there it is. But this is my students' work, so I'm going to unlink this soon so you can see as the year started. They are really good at posting their posters. Yeah, this is what they did. Here's their posters all about them. And it was such a great way just to get to know the class. Just, what do you like? Tell me about yourself. Then you could see the projects changing. This is a very Adobe, this is our school bulletin board. And so they would have a spot, how to log in, how to use the tool, and where to turn your finished work in, all packaged in one place. And the next week we would meet and we might start talking about Adobe Pages. Adobe Pages have a lesson. I have this lesson was what I walk the kids through. It's actually an explore, explain, apply lesson where the students explored these projects. These were students who used this for I took the high school students projects to teach the lower school, and they used this was their finals in high school. They had to take their literature they were reading and do a comparative analysis using Adobe Page. And look at how beautiful these turned out. Okay, well, Eden's 8th grade, she's amazing. And the elementary students absolutely loved this. It's multimedia. You can have these amazing images. You can put in links. You can have video. It's just really powerful the way this was designed, with even standout quotes. And again, capturing the reader to read this student's report. This was the 5-paragraph essay in a whole new format. I mean, this is so dynamic and amazing. And so I did leave a whole bunch on there that you can take a look at too. So the first thing I ask students to do is take a look. What did you like? What might you include? What would you change? And I did kind of a mixture of them. And then how might you design your site with the Express elements? And we talked about the elements. You can have a photo and text and buttons and videos and a photo grid and a glide show. And we kind of played with all of those. And then the elementary students made their reading portfolios. Now, I put in my mentor sample here so that students could see. And by the end of the year, they all had theirs created. So we did each of these pieces as the year went on, and we'd go back to setting their reading goals. These are Adobe Express videos that we put in, and here's their modeled their goals. And it was really exciting lesson. And look what a dynamic way to create portfolio-based learning with their work. And that's how I taught the kids how to do pages. There are tons of templates. And speaking of templates, I wanted to share the video template. Now, when I first went to video, I went to, let's see. There we go. I was here. I said, pick a story template or start from scratch. And a lot of times we just start from scratch right here. But I really I wanted the kids to get to know how to use video by teaching a lesson. And so I picked this template. And it was hilarious too, because I really wanted them to pre-write before they got in here. Video, if you are working with young children, this is such a great video tool to use. I use WeVideo all the time with my students, but I always introduce students to this tool. And as you go through here, it talks about, it gives you the template. Give an example that your audience can relate to. Explanation, connect your example to the idea, explain how it applies. So this walks you through how to teach a lesson. Well, when I was working with kids, I didn't want them they were skipping those explanations and they didn't know what to put. So first I created a graphic organizer for them, and it had those same little prompts that template has. And I just added it right onto the Show What You Know page. And so there's a Show What You Know template, and then they were to create a video as they went. And the videos are so easy to do. You can add text, a photo, or an icon. You can do split screen. And every time you click a plus with Adobe, it gives you an option to add something else. So it's really kind of cool. I can add all sorts of photos in here, and all sorts of, I could add text and all kinds of things here. And so then when you go to record, you just hold the button and record. It has music, which is so great to add in as well. And when you publish, it just makes for a great little video. And you saw some of those in the reading portfolio videos. So going through this, I usually do get to know you activities first. So create a video teaching me a lesson, something you're really great at. Teach me something. For the page, it might be, let's start our portfolio reading pages, because we're going to do that all year. Graphic, it might be a get to know you graphic where everyone can see. That low cognitive load is really great to start kids off with, so that they're not overwhelmed with the content and the expectation of that content. All right. Oh, audio stories. Okay. I'll have that. I'll make sure you have all those links. Thanks, Jamie. Any questions about this document to begin with? So this is the document I first introduced the kids to. I call it the Show What You Know, because throughout the year, I will say, all right, we just finished this unit. I want you to open up the Adobe Show What You Know. I want you to pick one of the tools or a template and show me everything you know about the topic we just talked about. Even better, I might say, today you don't get a choice. Today you have 10 minutes. We just finished this chapter. I want you to give me your reaction to the chapter in a video. And so they can get in and make a video in literally 10 minutes. There's not a lot of editing. There's no fussing around. You hear their voices. Or if they're not happy with having their voice on video, which they hate having their voice on video, then they can add just text all over it. And it's incredible when I shorten my amount of time for kids to create on some of these items. It just took away that perfectionist, choosing the right font, choosing the right color, choosing the right image, and got them really used to the tool. Later, when I wanted really quality published items, then I gave them more time, of course, because creativity does take time. But boy, that was a game changer. I learned from Martine, actually, about how to just kind of get in and make something to show what you know, and then we're moving on. So 30 voices in the classroom recording. You hear everybody. It's really hard. We go under the desk. We had milk crates in the classroom. I had crates in the classroom, and we put the Chromebook inside the milk crate and their heads or sometimes boxes with a towel over it is a really great way. I have a hallway. I know California schools, that's so funny. I say that other places. I actually had a hallway in our school. And so I'd send them out a couple times and do it. But when it was a review project, just tell me your first reaction. We just let go of the sound of the other voices. And we talked in our recording voices. So recording voices are different from speaking out in class when you raise your hand. A recording voice is, I'm going to tell you my review of this book. When you talk, in your best narrative voice. So it was not perfect. And I taught them how to go back and fix their voice later if they wanted. Now, that said, I teach virtual school. I just mute y'all. It's so awesome. And it's really easy to teach over Zoom. Anyone else in here teaching virtually or over Zoom? It's a great way to teach the tools. The kids, everyone can see everything, even in the back of the room. So thank you for your question. So that is how I kind of get going with this show what you know. And I just embed the lessons there and the resources so they can go back and see that. At what to use. So, all right, I'm going to get straight into then the connections to the content, because you can start to think, especially when you're in the templates and some of those things I just shared, ways that you can use these tools. Let me start to close some of these down, especially like this changing out your finals and having it performance assessments. Take a look at some of those. Or if you like this packaging, just go file, make a copy of this, and you can take out all of my instructions and put your own there. Any of that packaging you like. If you like the template, you can copy that as well. I'm going to go ahead and close these down. And you can see there they did all the Adobe challenges. We did these are all Adobe graphics. Throughout the year, we had our teachers were doing it alongside students, and I even had templates that they opened and shared some of their best reports and projects they did during the year. They put their reading portfolios in here. Oh, good. I forgot that some were going to do that. Oh, if you saw my, I just dropped in Twitter this week, my pep talk lesson, and this is their pep talks. Some kids, news alert. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. I think they used a different tool for this one. Anyway, you get the point. I get excited when I see their work that they're creating. All right, so I'm closing these up so I can open up a million more tabs now. Oh yeah, it was use a template. Okay, so now getting on to connections to the content. And that's where we get into these audio dramas. And I started working with a group called Gen Z Media. And has anyone heard of Gen Z Media? I'm curious. In the chat, if you want to put in the chat, or I can see people shaking their heads, or you haven't heard of them. I'm so excited that I get to be the one to tell you about them. Have you heard of 6 Minutes or Mars Patel? Okay, that's Gen Z Media. These are podcasts for kids that these amazingly talented people have created. This company, they're big time. Like I was just in awe of them. The actors who play the voices, the characters in these dramas, are from Broadway. They're in TV shows. The writers wrote for soap operas back in the day. They've won Peabody Awards for their shows. You know what? And I'm going to try something. I'm going to play something, and can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear it? Otherwise, I'll reshare. No, okay. I figured I'm going to reshare with sound. And what I'd like to do, it's one thing for me to tell you about these podcasts. Let me see, I'll optimize for a video clip. It's better if you hear for yourself. Oh, thank you, Stephanie, for the pep talk lesson. That was awesome. It went really well. I did that with all grades. All right. So let's see if we can hear this again, because I don't want to tell you about an audio drama. I want you to listen right now. 6 minutes is great. It's only 6 minutes. Every episode is 6 minutes. So we are going to listen. I want you to think about one detail, one inference, and one prediction. from listening to the beginning of the show. You can hear it now? Relax.
There are kids in this world who are different, special. They look like us and they act like us, but they are not us. And one of them is missing.
Thanks for choosing Marine Adventures, Alaska's oldest whale watching tour. Migratory humpback whales.
I know twice as much as this lady.
We know you do, honey.
Dad, did you know that the humpback whale's brains have a neuron cell that's also found in humans?
I didn't know that, Cyrus.
And he didn't really care either.
That's not nice, Birdie. Your brother loves science.
So does your mother, by the way. It's why she became a doctor.
But I don't want to learn about whale brains. I want to see a whale.
I'm sure we'll see one soon, Birdie.
Maybe that helicopter scared them all away.
I read online that the scientists at Whittier are actually using whale cells to experiment with human evolution.
Don't believe everything you read.
But wouldn't it be epic if...
Hold that thought, Cy.
Daddy, you said you were going to turn off your phone on the boat.
Sorry, sweetheart. I have to take this. Hello? Yes, Admiral Grayling. What kind of activity?
Doesn't the government ever take a day off?
No, I understand. Yes, of course. Monica, honey, can you come inside the cabin for a second?
Sure. Be right back, guys. See how many whales you spot before we get back.
Did that seem weird to you?
What? Did Dad got a work call? He's always getting work calls. Especially since we moved.
Then why did he ask Mom to come with him?
Who cares? I can't see anything from down here.
Birdie, what are you doing?
Looking for whales.
Trust me, if there's a whale, you'll see it. You're not supposed to climb the railing.
Then I'm gonna get nice and close. Look him right in the blowhole and say, "Whoa!"
Bert! Birdie! Stop the boat! Hang on, Birdie! I'm throwing the life preserver. Grab onto it and don't let go! Swim to it! Good, Bird, good. Hang on!
Cyrus, what's going on?
Where's Birdie?
She's in the water.
What?
She fell in. Help me pull her up.
Go! Pull! Keep pulling!
Hang on, Birdie!
I got her. Pull!
Girl!
What?
There's a girl floating in the water.
She's right. There's a girl out there, look.
What?
Cyrus, what are you doing? Cyrus!
I'm going in.
Cyrus! Come back! Cyrus! Cyrus, swim back to the boat!
She's alive!
Her pulse is weak, but she's breathing. My name is Dr. Anders. Can you hear me?
How old is she? 10? 11?
How did she get out there? There are no other boats around. Where did she come from?
Is she a mermaid?
She doesn't have any ID. How long was she floating out there?
Hello? What's your name? Can you hear me? Who are you?
Holiday?
Paging Dr. Strauss. Dr. Strauss to the ER.
Check her vitals again and let me know if anything has changed.
Yes, Dr. Anders.
Mom, is Holiday going to be all right?
Holiday?
That's what she said on the boat. It must be her name, right?
You two must be freezing. You're still wet.
We're fine. Where is she?
She's resting in that exam room.
Has she said anything else?
She hasn't woken up since we put her in the ambulance.
Cyrus, Birdie, you guys wait out here.
Why can't we go in and see her?
She's not ready for visitors.
But you're going in.
Please stay with your sister.
Mom,
What is it, Cyrus?
what's that marking on her left hand?
I didn't notice any marking. We'll be out soon.
working with a bandage.
Good. I called around. There's nothing out there about a missing girl.
She looks so peaceful lying there. It's a miracle she survived, James.
Since when do you believe in miracles?
Sooner or later, someone's going to come looking for her. You know that.
What's happening?
She's in distress. I can give her something to calm her down.
Wait. I think she's waking up.
Can you hear me? Do you know where you are? Holiday?
What happened?
You're in the hospital.
Hospital?
Do you know how you got here?
No. What's going on? Why can't I remember anything?
It's okay, honey. You're safe now. You were in an accident.
Are you my parents?
Are we?
Yes. Yes, sweetheart. Of course we are. We are your mom and dad.
Okay, I have to turn that music off. You're right. It can be a lot. Look, you were in like a whole other world there, weren't you, for just a moment with Holiday? And that was 6 minutes. It's only 6 minutes. Every episode is 6 minutes. The first season, there's 100 episodes, and they all leave you with a cliffhanger at the end of 6 minutes. Every time, all of a sudden, they're now telling this girl who was in the water, Holiday, they're her parents. And now you need to know more. And now you're hooked. Anyone have a long road trip this weekend on your way camping? And if you have kids, put this on in the car. Even my husband would listen to it on our road trips all the time. Now, in the chat, go ahead and give me one detail, one inference, and one prediction on what you just listened to. If you can type. I know some of you are driving now. One detail that you picked up. It doesn't matter. You could do one of just, you don't have to do all three. Just pick one. Either a detail, an inference, or a prediction you might have for this story. Or you can unmute and share. Yeah, Dad is busy. Oh, you're already starting to collect clues, Justine. Very good. Family of 4. They're on a boat. Yep. What were they doing on that boat? And do you know where the boat was? So, yeah, the brother and sister, they do. The brother is Cyrus and Birdie is the sister. Yes, you get points. It is Alaska. It does take place in Alaska. They're going to have a witness protection to save the girl. The kid, oh, look at we go. The kids aren't going to be happy and they're going to go off and look for her real parents. Oh, Jen, if only it was that simple. Oh, Tawny, yes, they're hiding a lot. That's kind of like the big clue in this. Yeah, anyway. Oh yeah, he jumped in the water for Holiday, but not Cyrus. We could go on, and I just had you listen for 6 minutes and what it does for your students and for yourself. You'll start to notice yourself as a student. That listening skill, it's totally different. It's sort of like, oh yeah, what's that symbol on her arm? How do you keep track of all these little details? There's 100 episodes, and it is the craziest story. It has so many twists and turns. It's sort of like Stranger Things, only for younger kids. The kids get very much like the kids in Stranger Things. And so that's something that, yeah, government cover-ups. Yeah. Have you heard this, Lana? Yeah, listening skills in the classroom. Does anyone teach dual immersion or students who speak Spanish? There's also a version called 6 Minutos. So every episode is in Spanish, and some of the content we created is in Spanish as well. Well, I wanted to introduce you to one of them. You can see it's hard Oh yeah, I love Listen Wise. It's hard to describe or call these a podcast when that feels so different. That's an audio drama. It's basically a show. Oops, no, I'm not gonna make you listen to it again. It is through GZM Classroom. Now I'm gonna put these right into the chat again. Make sure you have my slides here, because GZM Classroom is where all of this is stored. These are all of their shows. And so as you go into their website, they also have Gen Z Media. You can go there as well, but this is their new site they just built out over the last 6 months. There's 6 minutos, there's 6 minutes, and I'm going to give you a little tour of these, and it's really hard. And you're going to be annoyed because I'm like, oh, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. But it's so hard to pick. They're definitely made for, like, I could see doing these with second graders, the 6 minutes for sure. Especially since the short amount of time. Becoming Mother Nature it's like a superhero adventure, like a hero's journey kind of thing. And it gets into this Greek mythology where this middle schooler finds out she's Mother Nature. And it's all around weather. If you teach weather at all of that would really tie in really well. This one also is a middle school kids, Cupid and the Reaper. It's really good for like second grade through like freshmen in high school, I think, could handle some of the stories, especially depending on your students. I think the perfect age range, though, is middle school. Really good for middle school because the kids are middle school. And then, I saw there was 5th grade teachers in the room. You always can bring that stuff down for those age groups. But to engage your middle schoolers, to have them really like it, this Cupid and the Reaper, they're the craziest stories. I can't stop listening to them. They're about 20 minutes each, Cupid and the Reaper and the Mother Nature. And I think there's, 10 episodes. Yeah. So it's a little less of that 100 episode commitment. There's The Adventures of Annie Warbucks, 15 years after the play we're used to. There's Treasure Island, The Hollow. Oh, if you want to try one, do this around. There's only 8 episodes. They're really fast. And do this around Halloween time. It is such a fun one. And the activities are all Halloween related. And they try to modernize all the stories. So you can see, the Headless Horseman, he can't talk. Well, in this version, he takes one of the kids' phones and Siri does the talking for him. And I don't know. I'm sorry. I have a humor of a middle schooler, but I thought it was so hilarious. It was really cute, those little pieces. There's a lot of modern tech in these, like with AI and all sorts of things about that. Now, Young Ben Franklin is great. I just created the content for these. Really good for U.S. history. And just so many. Do you see I'm waiting? I passed this one. My favorite one. If you teach dystopian adventure, alternative future, this is my very favorite one, Iowa Chapman and the Last Dog. And this is a girl named Iowa Chapman, and she lives in a time where there are no animals, and she finds a dog and she has to get it to safety. And her adventure is so wild. Now, when you click into one of these, it'll take you to the page and you can see here's all of our content right here that we made, the classroom resources. And I'm going to show you these in just a moment, but I wanted you to see where they are available, and you can click on them. There's even videos of how to use them. What's a listening guide, how to use it? What's an explore board, how to use it? What's a choice board, etc. There's also season 2. I didn't tell you that. 6 Minutes has season 2. I think it's better than season 1. And this choice board is, I love the activities on the choice board. And there's even a season 3 that's I've just started. It just came out. All the episodes are right here, and you can play them right from here. So they're free. You can get them from your Apple Podcasts. You can do Spotify. You can do Amazon Music. And they're all free. You don't have to pay for them. So make sure you don't do that. They're also on YouTube. Oh, yeah. There it is. There's the YouTube. So you can have captions, which is kind of nice. People want to see the captions. So each of those stories I just showed you all have those same kind of resources. And so you can see as you scroll down, there's always a listening guide, there's an explore board and a choice board. So that is the gist of this company and what they have to offer. But let's talk about those curriculum pieces, the explore boards and choice boards. Any questions before I move on? Questions about Gen Z? Their other side is, oops, not Gen X, that's me, Gen Z Media. And it could be, they're the same thing. It's a little bit more about them. They do have an app. They do have other, a variety of shows. Oh my God, this is their new show, Nightingale. Look at it. I'm all squirrel. We have to look at this because this one is going to be really powerful. It's about these students in the cancer ward. And it's sort of like a different version of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where they go through a portal to find some cures. And I think it's going to be amazing. I heard it is such a great show. And it's starting June 21st. I cannot wait for this one to come out. The writers are so creative. And if you're into fake news, The Big Fib is a great show. Anyway, do you see? I could just go on and on about these. So good. So let's talk about the content. Thank you, Melissa, for joining us, and explore the content that I have made if you want to try them out. Explore boards. Every show has an explore board. And Jenna, did these look familiar? Yep. So if you've heard me talk about multimedia text sets for years, right, Jenna? I mean, we were talking about those in like 2013, forever ago. And Jenna took one look. She's in the call today. Took one look at them and went, oh, I need to redesign that. And she just made them into this amazing game board template that we've been using for years. So Jenna, some of ours are the game boards, but some of them we tried to mix up as well and give a new look to them. Explore boards, though, we changed the name too because kids hate to say multimedia text set and they don't want to like, I had to do my multimedia text set. They're more into saying, do your explore board. It's just easier to say. But this is a tool to use before you listen. And it builds background knowledge for what you're about to listen to. It has a meet the cast, talks about spoilers. It has the listening guide embedded in it. And it has sketch notes because sketch notes are a great way to be listening to 6 minutes because there's so many episodes and you want to keep track of those. So great way to reach all your learners and build background knowledge before you get into the show. Now, choice boards are for after the show's over. Now, 6 minutes is so long. I did this year with 4th and 5th graders, and I started using some of these activities in around episode 50. But these are inquiry learning, being creative, letting kids show what they know. And this is where I've packaged some of those Adobe activities. So you'll be able to check those out. So really quick, I wanted to talk to you about how to teach with these explore boards. The first thing you would do is make a copy of them. So if you opened one of them, they're all linked. You can go to File and make a copy. Then it is yours. It's in your drive. You do not need to request edit access. And you can use this however you like. Some teachers want to give it straight to their students and say, have at it, explore. You've got 2 days. We're going to start this podcast in 2 days. And don't listen ahead because spoilers are really important not to listen ahead. Let's meet the cast. And do they look different than you thought? I mean, it's just so cool. After you just heard one episode, is this what you expected the cast to look like? And some teachers don't want them to see the cast until later after they've listened for a long time. And so that might be something that you don't include. Now, teachers use this in different ways. Some teachers would give students one link at a time. Okay, and this is like a whole document about how not to give away spoilers. It's a whole lesson that you could do with students about how not to spoil the story. Teachers definitely open the listening guide. And I'll talk about the listening guide in just a moment. It is view only. We have one of these for every show. But the listening guide, maybe you don't want to give the students the whole Explore board. Maybe the week before you start listening, you just give them one link at a time. All right, class, we're going to talk about this new topic that we're going to be bringing, that we're going to be exploring and listening to. Same goes for the Iowa Chapman. It's a little different version. There is a trailer. So I love to get kids doing predictions and inferences. There's 3 ways to listen. There's what it's like. This whole how many animals can you see is quite the, you'll see there's a eerie song in the show. And then I gave a little bit of background knowledge about dogs, because there's so much about dogs in here and the science behind a lot of that show. So again, these are Explore boards. Use them however you want. Give the whole board to the kids, or just give them one link at a time. And edit and revise any of the activities. I mean, there's just a lot for you to choose from. If anything, there's too much choice sometimes. So the listening guide. The first thing you want to do is you are free to open it and go to File and make a copy. This is view only. You do not need to request access. And you can change any of this. So let's say you're working on specific standards that you want to add in. Feel free to change it up or use it as this is. If do any of you know Sarah Landis, a teacher that I work with? She's a literacy expert, and I give her all the credit for the listening guides. She did such a great job with them. And this is just about how to use the guide, some ways to use the script. And I definitely use this in class. And we would open up the listening guide every time we would listen. There's a section on character profiles, and they would select a character and go ahead and keep notes. Every time you learned, we would write in Holiday's name here. And then every time you picked up a clue about Holiday, like, for example, there's a marking on her hand, you would write that down because that would be helpful. It goes through about emotional timelines. These are quotes from the show that you can turn and talk in class. There is a note taking for each section. We did it episodes 1 through 10 though. So you could type your clues you have here. Then we get into like big ideas, questions to ponder as you're going through. You have to catch them though, stopping at episode 7 or episode 32 and letting kids write their answers or discuss in class, and then 59 and 85. But then at the end, look at how many prompts there are and we get the kids to write a little bit longer here. So there's a bunch of prompts in every listening guide. You don't want that many. Make a copy, delete some of them, or add your own, and then share the listening guide with the students. We have a review. This is for teachers. These are our skills and strategies and standards listed. So if you do need to show the standards that are included. And I'd give a big shout out to Slides Mania, because if you've noticed, this notebook is a Slides Mania template. And there's a tutorial for how to edit this if you really want to get into editing it. But these links do jump you to the clues. So they do kind of fun. So that's the listening guide. If you use just one thing from that Explore board, just give the kids the listening guide. Maybe go through one show doing that, and then maybe 1 or 2 activities. Do you see how it's like a buffet? Like you could choose whatever you wanted, really, and use this in so many different ways. Now, the last part is the choice boards. And I haven't even hardly said the word hyperdoc today yet. These are full of some hyperdocs and some just quick activities, and lots of Adobe activities. Now, again, you open them up. They're on that website. You saw them all linked there. And I did make a video for everyone. And I kind of talked about highlights and the way I might use it. So you might have kids share their work here, and you can put a Padlet there if you want, or put a form, a Google form to collect their work. This year, I actually did not give them the whole choice board. I every week just gave them one of the links and said, all right, this week we're going to start evidence boards, and you're going to create on Jamboard, and you have to make a copy. It's a forced copy. And it just starts them off with collecting evidence. Some kids are visual and they just had a lot of fun. I have tacks that you could move and clues, and they could use even the string. We included string just to have fun, like a CSI, right? Because it's very much like that. These are the Adobe activities, creating a book cover. So if you were to create a new book cover for it, and look, we've linked them up so they could be a template, and the whole complete lesson is here and done. So it gives the instructions, log into Adobe. There's your rough draft. It walks you through how to do this and then how to share it. So like I said, each of these are lessons linked. This one, I'm super biased. I love this. I love this show. It has a huge project in it. And so if you are teaching, this definitely could go for older grades, for sure, like middle school to even to high school. So if you're doing expository writing, you could start this project. It's actually built on a Google site. This show has lots of science behind the show. So it talks about sustainable farming. It talks about freshwater and droughts. And so students can click on these and get more research and more information. But they're trying to, my goal is to help kids get into the science behind this and get curious. So they have to see which subject above did you like the most, and how to pick one, and then create a Adobe page teaching about that. So this student, a middle school student, created one on energy poverty, and this was their expository writing that they ended up creating, and as a sample project. So that's all packaged here, and that was just one of the squares. I like to get kids using Google Earth projects, or maybe something really low cognitive load, like in the story, there's a lot about collecting. And so maybe it's something as simple as this, that you just let them do one of these easier ones, talking about collections, ways to display them. What are your collections? And it kind of walks you through that whole lesson. See, it's like little treasures hidden in here. You might say to your students, everyone has to do the Wonder Project, and then you can pick one other square on here to do. And then that gives them an opportunity. Maybe they want to do a musical one. This is about using Adobe Video, etc. Or this poster, they can create prophecies. You can do this however you like. Some teachers are using it where they give them all choice, or maybe keep this to yourself and just you feed them the links that you would like to do. So that was a lot that I've showed you. This was talking about the Explore board as before, building background knowledge so they know what they're listening to and what that is going to be about. Then was the listening guide. While you're listening, you would use this. And then projects for after you finished the story. And again, you can use just the listening guide. You can pick just one of these activities. Just see how it works for you and see what your kids think of it. That's kind of the best part about some of this. Oh my God, look at it. That's it. That's all I had to share. I'm just kidding. You're like, oh, does she ever stop? They are really, though. I do implore you to come and look at, they're everywhere. There's so many weather projects on this one. It's really great. This one would be great for, it's great for third graders, but it's really good for social emotional learning, because she's a middle schooler and she's very moody and the weather is tied to her emotions. It's so good. And then, you know, when they asked me to write curriculum for middle schoolers, that's Cupid and the Reaper. I'm like, you want me to write activities for love and death for middle schoolers? What? So there's some really good Greek mythology pieces in this. And so I did one side was the Greek mythology. Oh, we did superhero profiles and then a lot of love on there. So social sciences and history. Yeah. So on some of the shows, how does this relate to social science and history? Some of the shows are history based. It could go back I try to pull out the history of the place. For example, in Tomorrow, there's a lot about New York City here in the Explore board, and a lot about the history of Annie, about Annie's New York, and what New York was like during that time period. So that was something that was really important to include here. And it had a lot of music to this as well, but it does get into a lot of that history. Ben Franklin, of course, is the US history, but a lot of these are for literature. Treasure Island is a new updated version of this, but it has time travel in it. So it's definitely different. And it does touch on the classic on this one. If you were to do this around Halloween time, it talks about not just like where is Sleepy Hollow, but what inspired the legend of Sleepy Hollow. And it kind of gets into the even the art from this, and it has some original versions. So the original story, the audio version, and even the movie is linked. And the history of Sleepy Hollow, and there's videos linked there for before you listen. So it can be tied in somewhat. There's really fun Halloween stuff there to do. All right, that was a lot. Questions about some of this. I'm going to stop screen sharing. Questions about the resources. They are all free forever, like, which is great. If you are not into using the tool like Adobe for some of the projects and you want to change them up, that's easy to change. Just make a copy of the lessons you see and edit however you want. I mean, that's kind of one thing that was really important to us in terms of sharing content. Yeah, you need time to explore. Sorry, I always do that, don't I? Bring the links. Yeah. So if you are finishing, our last day of school is Friday. You can even turn on some of these this week if you're trying to fill those little awkward moments. It's a really good way to get the kids to clean the room. Say, if you clean the room, I'll turn on another episode of 6 minutes. Yeah, it definitely is a great way for my English language learners. I love that you can turn on captions in the YouTube versions. And even this 6 minutes is in Spanish, and our listening guide is in Spanish as well. Our high school Spanish classes are using that this year, which has been awesome. And then we have dual immersion classrooms too. So are you still looking at ones? Maybe start off with you as a learner, try listening and see what you think. There's a lot of activities throughout these boards about creating your own audio dramas and your own stories. So if you were thinking that route to get kids to publish their stories as a podcast, kind of fun too. So we covered a lot of ground. I told you I did it with 2 minutes to spare. I could have done. Anyone else have a question? Or you can unmute. I'm curious, which one would you start with? Which one sounds intriguing to you? Maybe my descriptions weren't the best, but oh, Chelsea did 6 minutes, and did they like it? Oh, good. Yeah, have you heard season 2 yet? Season 2 of 6 minutes is, I think it's better. It's really fast paced though. It's good to see you, Peggy. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm actually going to be at ISTE presenting about this this summer. Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, Chelsea put in the chat, not making it through the first one. That's really common. I had to speed it up. I had them go home and promise they had to listen to like episodes 1 through 10. I would group them in groups of 10. And then we would reflect and share our thinking. It was just hard to get them to stop listening. They're like, oh, I'm already on season 2. I'm like, no, you have to stop. We have to talk about it. So,
Lisa?
uh-huh.
Hi, this is Gustavo. So I've been coming in and out of the session, but I really like the audio resource. So I support dual immersion. I support actually, like at our district, I support ELD and dual immersion. And so one of the things we've been doing is using ListenWise, their podcast, because they're a lot shorter. They start off like at 30 seconds and then we build up. So so sometimes the teachers, they just, I don't know, for anyone out there who struggles, sometimes they're asking for something different in ELD because a lot of them tend to do the same routines. Wonders has an ELD program, but it's, I don't know. I don't want to talk bad about it, but it gets a little repetitive and they just need something different. So practicing that listening is so important, especially when they take the LCAP. Like there's a portion in there where they could only listen to the story once. And as a teacher, I had no idea about that until, I don't know, what the EL coordinator informed me. And I'm like, what reasoning is there behind that? And of course they don't know. But then that just prompted me to tell the kids, you know, in life, sometimes you get to only listen to something once, right? And that was the starting point. But these longer, like the ones you shared right now, I had never come across them. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what can I do with them? Especially like you said, the middle schools. And it's so important because by middle school, if they haven't been redesignated, those English learners, they become those littles, which I had no clue about also. And those are like your lifetime, you know, non-redesignated, you know, EL students who, you know, don't get to electives because they have to be in those ELD classes and all that. So I don't know, thank you so much for the resource. This was really great.
Oh, I'm so glad, you know, and I'll be anxious to hear how you kind of mix it up to work with them. Maybe you cut down some of the episodes.
So I would stop. I was listening to one of the episodes. I would stop and then have them write a prediction or something great is, and I would stop like at the most 2 minutes in, and then I would have them write like the gist, because that is, I taught 4th grade for many years, but they always have a struggle with just writing the gist, writing or paraphrasing, right? So that's how I kind of introduced those skills. So I taught it within context, but yeah, that's the first thing that popped in when I saw the link.
Oh no, that's awesome. So, and again, change up the listening guide. The listening guide is available on that page in Spanish as well. So you can change it up however you like. Let them take notes right in that, or not on paper, you know. So I love the comments in here. I'm excited you are looking forward to trying it. And give shout outs to, if you have any questions about this. I am Highfill on Twitter. If you're on anyone on Twitter anymore, talk to me there. I have no one to talk to anymore, but I do connect people with Gen Z Media. They're kind of watching. And then in our Facebook group, the HyperDoc Facebook group, It's a good place also where I talk about it, and they're kind of watching also. They want to see how teachers are using their resources. So they're a great group to get connected with. They do a lot of fun. There was a 6-minute trivia night every Wednesday. If you guys know Donnie Piercy, have you ever heard him speak? He's a really great speaker from Kentucky. And he would do 6 minutes trivia night every Wednesday. And my students, we all had to go to that. And I was terrible at it. I don't know why. I should have been better, but the kids love that. So there's lots of good interactive ways to connect with really good stories and great web tools. So thank you so much for joining in today on this discussion.
Thank you so much, Lisa. This was incredible. I learned so much. I'm super excited to explore. So yay, we're so grateful that you came today and shared all your wonderful knowledge with us.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy. And anyone who has kids or going on road trips, now you have your podcasts. Although the songs, you're right, you're going to have to like fast forward through the intro song. That song in 6 minutes is like emblazed in my head. And the Iowa Chapman one, it's creepy. You might have nightmares. Now you're all going to have to go listen to it. So anyway.
Well, thank you again. So just to kind of wrap things up here. So this was the Teacher Innovation Network's last EdTech Playground of the school year. And we already have dates scheduled for next year. So please, if someone could drop the link in chat as well. So please go ahead and register to make sure that you get invited to all of the events and spread the word. We'd love to have this group keep growing. We're so excited that you found us. So our first session of the new year will be August 8th with Lisa Nowakowski. So she's from Math Reps and EduProtocols. Very excited to have her. We're still working on the rest of the lineup for the year. But please register. We can't wait to see you there. And there's another way to connect, and Tani's going to talk about this.
All right, so we also now have a Facebook group. It's called the Teacher Innovation Network, and we just got this going, so we'd love to have you join. And it's going to be a place where we kind of post everything Teacher Innovation Network. So we'll announce our upcoming events, resources that our speakers have shared. So a lot of the stuff that we looked at tonight from Lisa, we'll put on the Facebook page along with our Teacher Innovation Network website. We're going to post some, questions and just kind of get your juices flowing. It's a great place to follow up with how you're using the resources, things that you're learning in your classroom with some of the activities you hear about on TIN. So we'd love for you to join and just be part of our community.
All right. And for those of you who have joined before, you may have seen we like to end with an optimistic closure. I don't remember who had this idea, but I love it. So there's a Padlet link, and we would love you just to take a moment and add a reflection. So you used Padlet earlier today. So just this one we have kind of headings. So just press the little plus sign underneath the section that you want to add your thoughts to. And we really love seeing these too. So thank you for taking a minute to reflect on your experience today.
And you can also use your I can to draw, I guess, here, right? Newly learned too. Yeah, actually. Before you go, we also have our feedback form. So we would love to get your feedback. It is important for us. That helps us guide our work and plan our next steps. So do go on that link and give us your feedback. We really appreciate that.
And we have some questions in chat about sharing the resources. So we'll send a follow-up email once we upload the video and do a little bit of editing. So you'll have the recording, you'll have all of the incredible resources that Lisa shared, her slide deck, so lots of stuff. So keep an eye out for that, or join the Facebook group and you'll access everything through there as well. Definitely a lot of people learned something new today. Super exciting.
Please remember to fill in the feedback form before you go. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, maybe we'll wrap a few minutes early. If you have some questions, you can stay online. And we're happy to answer questions. But thank you so much for joining us. Great audience. Really enjoyed seeing all your comments. Have a great summer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing your useful, creative, innovative educational tools and giving us your valuable time. And we also want to thank all of you who attended for, your participation and also being such enthusiastic and keen learners. So thank you so much. And do remember to fill in the feedback form. It will really help us guide our next steps. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Lisa, again. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.